Welcome back to my channel. My name is Doris Kimuyu, and thank you so much that you have decided to watch the video. As you watch the video, remember to like, remember to subscribe, and also remember to share the video. We are going to discuss about today's topic, genetics versus habits. What actually determines how long your hair can grow? If you're on a hair growth journey trying to grow your hair, then you have to listen to this video up to the end. So, every single hair on your head goes through a 4-phase cycle, and understanding this is the key to understanding the whole genetics versus habits topic. So, we have the anagen. This is the active growth phase, and this is the only phase where your hair is actually growing. Cells in the hair matrix at the base of the follicles are dividing rapidly, pushing the hair shaft upward. This phase lasts anywhere from 2 to 7 years, depending on the individual, and this duration is almost entirely determined by your genes. Number 2 is the catagen, the transition phase. Here, growth stops. The follicle shrinks and the hair detaches from its blood supply, and this one lasts for 2 to 3 weeks. Number 3 is the telogen. This is the resting phase. The hair sits dormant in the follicle, and this one lasts about 3 months. This is also when shedding happens. And then we have the fourth one is the exogen, the shedding phase. The old hair falls out and the follicle resets, losing around 50 to 150 hairs per day. Let's see what genetics controls in your hair growth. So, your DNA sets the biological maximum for your hair. Here is exactly what it governs. 1. The anagen duration, that is the terminal length. This is the big one. Your terminal length, the absolute longest your hair can biologically grow, is determined by how long your anagen phase lasts. If your anagen lasts for like 3 years and hair grows like half an inch per month, your terminal length is roughly 18 inches. If your anagen lasts 7 years, that's up to 45 inches. So you cannot grow past this through any kind of habit or product. This one is written in your DNA. So it will depend with your anagen. If you go for 2 years, if you go for 3 years, if your anagen goes for 4 years, it all depends with your anagen duration. Let me touch something about follicle shape. Round follicles is straight hair. Oval follicles is wavy hair. Then asymmetrical or curved follicles is coily or kinky hair. The shape of the follicle also affects how vulnerable the hair is to break. Coily hair, because of its curved structure, has natural stress points where the strand can snap more easily. Then for the follicle density, you are born with approximately 80,000 to 120 follicles on your scalp. Genetics determines this number, and you never grow new ones, okay? You never grow new follicles, and this affects the overall thickness and volume of your hair. I know you have seen people with thick hair, and you have seen other people who don't have, actually, like, their hair is so thin you can actually see their scalp. I hope you have seen that kind of people. And sometimes they have tried everything, they have tried every product to at least, make their hair grow thick, and it has never happened. If you are watching this video and you have that kind of thin hair, people can just see your scalp, and you have been like that since you are born. So that is not like an issue for you to stress yourself with. That means that is how your follicles are, like your follicle density is just like that. So you just have to accept your condition. Now let's talk about what habits control. Now genetics sets the ceiling. Habits determines whether you reach it or stall far below it. So let's talk of breakage versus growth. The core concept: your hair is growing at its genetic rate all the time. The reason it seems to stop growing at a certain length is that it is breaking off at the same rate it is growing. So what are some of the habits? One is nutrition, growing from the inside out. Let's start with protein. Hair is made of keratin, a protein. Keratin is a protein. Chronic low protein intake directly weakens the hair shaft structure. Let's talk of iron. Iron deficiency is one of the most common causes of excessive shedding, and low iron leads to follicles pushed into resting pace prematurely. Know that if you have iron deficiency, your follicles are being pushed into resting pace prematurely. Biotin, zinc, vitamin D and E. This supports the cellular machinery inside the follicle. So the deficiencies of these is they disrupt growth cycles. For the omega-3 fatty acids, they support scalp health and follicle membrane integrity. Number 2, let's talk of scalp health. The soil your hair grows in. I always say this: a healthy follicle needs a good blood circulation, a balanced microbiome, and minimal inflammation. Chronic scalp conditions like dandruffs, name them, can inflame follicles and disrupt the anagen pace. Scalp massage has been shown in small studies to increase dermopapillary cell activities, which may support the anagen. And remember, the last 2 weeks, I told you people I will be doing scalp massages daily. Okay, we are done with scalp health. Mechanical damage. Things like tight hairstyles, it can be braids, weaves, ponytails, name them. They create traction alopecia. Sustained tension can permanently damage follicles over time. Number 2, heat styling. Okay, heat styling denatures the keratin protein in the strands, creating weak points, and these weak points will eventually lead to breakage. Chemical treatments like bleaching, relaxers, they break the disulfide bonds in the hair structure, and when done incorrectly, they cause massive breakage. Now, there's this particular point where now the genetics and the habits come to meet together, and this is the hormones. They call it the overlap zone. This is where the genetics and the habits they meet. Your baseline hormones profile is genetic, but habits influence hormonal balance. For example, chronic stress elevates the cortisol, and this can prematurely push hair into telogen pace. Okay? Then poor sleep disrupts growth hormone release. Growth hormones plays a role in anagen activity. Then we have the thyroid dysfunction, like often influenced by diet and stress. So severely it disrupts the hair cycle. So the bottom line of this is genetics is the architect, then the habits are the builder. Genetics is the architect, then habits are the builder. Your DNA draws the blueprint, the maximum length, the growth rate, the follicle density, but whether the building ever gets constructed to its full height depends entirely on what you do. That is their habits. So most people never reach their genetic terminal length, not because their genes are limiting them, but because breakage, nutritional gaps, the scalp neglect are all sabotaging the process silently. So the most powerful insight is, if your hair seems stuck at a certain length, it is almost never because it is stopped growing. It is because it is breaking off just as fast as it grows. I hope that you have learned something new today. If you have learned something, kindly just comment down there below. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, kindly subscribe and let's continue learning and growing our natural hair together.